I don't know if... Oh, now I can hear myself. So, you're not here to see me, but I know we've got some little ones. Can everyone see? Yeah? Everyone's all right? You've all been for a wee? Yeah? You sure? No rustling in Malteser boxes? All right? If you can't see, just sit on someone's knee. And now I'm going to hand you over to the people you have come to see. So I'll see you at the end. Bye.
Hi, I am somebody. Hello, talking into the microphone. Is that coming through loud enough? Can we hear me all right? Yay, gorgeous, wonderful. So hello, and welcome to Nottingham Poetry Festival presents Michael Rosen. He's right here. He is right there. Thank you so much to Confetti, Constellations and Metronome for hosting us this evening. Is everyone excited? Fantastic. So quick little extra bits of housekeeping. Our photographer will be taking photos during this. If you do not wish to appear in photos, just tell him and you won't appear in them. Those ones will be deleted.
That's magic.
Lost to the ether.
If I don't appear, that's extraordinary cinematographic thing. You just won't appear.
Also, if you have a telephone on you, please turn it off or put it on airplane mode, because if it goes off, we will talk to you. Which is terrifying, at least on my part. So, as the astute among you will realise, I am not Michael Rosen. I am Ben McPherson, a Nottingham poet who's been asked to support one of the most loved and celebrated poets of modern times. Think of me as that complimentary bread basket you get when you go to a fancy restaurant before you get what you've actually asked for. Something to get the taste buds going. So, poetry. What is poetry? I've always thought of it as making things out of clay. And that's pottery. But, there we go. We'll get the old jokes out of the way first, folks. But this is a little
It's an iPad.
Sorry.
No, I'm just being helpful. Yeah.
And it's not just that. It's also got words on it, too.
Hey, that's good.
Words, what I wrote. This is a little poem called Joshua Waite, who slouched and was eaten by a fish.
No.
Oh, yes. Can you recall Joshua Waite, who'd never, ever stand up straight? He was a boy, like boys you know, but always kept his shoulders low. If running round or on the couch, young Joshua would always slouch. One day, Mum said it's about time to have a doctor check his spine. To find out this malefactor, they met with a chiropractor. Now, this doctor knew a special trick to make Joshua's spine go click. She tried her best. She went chartreuse, but what she did was little use, for even though he went crack, crack, Josh always chose to bend right back. Mum, who had felt loster, worrying about his posture.
Hey!
And each day as Josh's shoulder slumps, Mother would feel down in the dumps. One day, after his deepest slouch, Joshua started crying, ouch. He tried his best to stand up straight, but simply could not elevate, as turn by turn his vertebrae abandoned him and went away. And one by one, his many bones each vanished from their normal homes. After 10 minutes, maybe more, Joshua flopped down on the floor, and seeing him, you could not guess the boy was now a squealing mess. But Mother knew, as mothers do. Together she put two and two, through tears cried, bless his cotton socks, and scooped him up into a box. She sadly said, what are the odds? Then stored him by Dad's fishing rods. Then, needing a pick-me-upper, nipped off for a cake and cuppa. Upon returning from her scone, she found that Joshua had gone. Mum could not see how she'd missed him, lacking his skeletal system. She searched the house, she'd made a tip. Dad came back from his fishing trip. And hurriedly, Mum then explained as Dad's expression grew quite pained. Said Father, who was red of face, I've used our son to catch a place. For when I looked inside the tub, I thought he was a massive grub. So, stand up tall, lest you may turn into a spineless, wriggling worm. That's what befell Joshua Waite, who ended up as fishing bait.
And may I say, it would be very wrong of me to kill it, this wonderful poem about someone who was a fillet.
That is getting added on, and it's going to be a co-author piece. I'm going to do a love poem for you now. This is a poem about something that's very special to my heart. It's called Lovely Brie. I like brie. It's true, you see, for nothing quite compares to brie. Mellow taste, soft and creamy. When it's offered, I say, brie me. No finer use of curds and whey than making up a lovely brie. If ever I visit Paris, as I of course occasionally, I will not eat charcuterie, nor indulge a crisp chablis, but off to the fromagerie, and there to find a lovely brie. For if there was a king of cheese, the dynasty would be the Bries. As camembert I cannot bear, of Roquefort I can take no more. At Pont-l'Evêque I scream, no, heck, and turn and flee for lovely brie. So ask yourself, if you were me and had to choose the best dairy, would you choose butter, cheddar, ghee, Baby Bell or Dairy Lee? The answer's really plain to see. I wish I had a lovely brie.
No! Always remember, debris is rubbish.
Last one from me, and then we'll get on with the main course, I promise. The bread is almost gone. But this isn't about bread, this is about cake. The Battenberg Fairy. Somewhere in your home, in an overlooked cupboard, hides a wee little beastie you've not yet discovered. In a den in the corner of the uppermost shelf, the Battenberg Fairy lives all by herself. Now the Battenberg Fairy stands 6 fingers high, and out of her back she has wings like a fly. She's got short, spiky hair, bright eyes as you'd think, and her clothes are alternately yellow, then pink. But she's not some fairy who dances round flowers. Her nose is all crooked, her face always glowers, her pale lips are thin, and just underneath, a fine little row of sharp, pointed teeth. At night, when all of the house is asleep, she wakes and gets to her beetle-like feet. Out of her cupboard she jumps as she titters, and over the counters she cackles and skitters. She goes to the fridge and opens the door, and leaps to the 3rd shelf, straight from the floor. She dances on food, right there in the cold, and where her foot touches, starts to grow mould. Green little spots and white bits, all hairy. That is the spell of the Battenberg Fairy. She plays with the milk, which curdles all lumpy. The skins of the peppers wilt and go bumpy. The trout on the plate, in the exact spot that she places her foot, that fish starts to rot. From out of the fridge, the table jumps down. She lands on bananas that start to turn brown. And then a madness begins to consume her. She dances fandango atop a satsuma.
Hey!
Her tangerine dance floor starts to turn blue. The fruit in the fruit bowl starts to go too. She plays with the flies, but won't know she's done till her dance is disturbed by the first light of sun. For at dawn's early light, she beats a retreat with fast flapping wings and small jumping feet. Straight back to her shelf to go rest her eyes, she curls up to sleep in her magic disguise. And if you went looking, I'd forgive your mistake, for all you would find was a Battenberg cake.
Oh.
That is the end of me, but can you please keep that applause welcoming and ongoing for the fantastic Children's Laureate 2007-2009, author of much loved books like We Are Going on a Bear Hunt, Michael Rosen's sad books, and most recently Many Different Kinds of Love. He has written for radio, newspapers, and so much more. The voice of childhood in Britain, whose work blends humour, emotion, storytelling so perfectly. Please whoop, cheer, and applaud Michael Rosen!
Thank you. He was very good. Ben, yes, go ahead. Come back on. Yes. Well done. Fantastic. And just think, you got all that and an iPad too. I'm so impressed.
4.
What?
It's an iPad 4.
iPad 4. What is an iPad 4? Anyway, no, sorry. Yeah, I mean, I've tried using. I had one in hospital 2 years ago, just in case you didn't know, and I'm sure you do because I've said it many times. But I was in hospital, and my wife very kindly sent me in an iPad, but I couldn't do it. But then there was lots of things I couldn't do, like be awake. That was one thing I couldn't do. I was they put me to sleep, which was very nice, except it went on for a bit. Just in case you don't know, I mean, most people, I don't know how long you sleep for, one night or two? Do you, one night, then you wake up in the morning, do you? Is that what you do? Yes, how about you? Do you do that? Yes, do you do that? Yeah. Well, they did that to me, they put me to sleep, but then I don't know whether they forgot about me, but I was asleep for 40 days and 40 nights. It was very well done. You didn't applaud, I thought there was... Thank you, yeah. 40 days and 40 nights. It's a bit biblical, isn't it? I don't know whether they chose it, whether they thought I was Noah. I think he wasn't asleep, was he? He was on a boat, wasn't he? Noah, yes, do you remember him? Yes, he got on a boat, didn't he? Who was he with? Some animals, that's it. And they went in 2 by 2, didn't they? Yeah, that's right. There was a giraffe, didn't they? And didn't somebody get stuck in the door? How does it go? The animals went in. Hurrah, hurrah, the animals went in. Hurrah, hurrah, elephant and the kangaroo. They all went into the ark for to get out of the rain. But somebody got stuck in the door, and I'm just trying to think, was it a dinosaur? He's got a rhyme with, get Ben back on, he's good at rhyme. Is who got stuck in the door. Anyway, I didn't get stuck in the door, and I wasn't on Noah's Ark, but I was asleep for 40 days and 40 nights. And I wasn't in the desert. There was somebody else, I think, who was in the desert for 40. Some of you know that, yes? That's good. You had good education. And and then they tried to wake me up. And I wouldn't. So some of you parents are here, or grandparents, who try to wake your children up in the morning. Got to go to school, darling. You're going to school, darling. It's just the same for me. I mean, you've been asleep for 40 days. It's quite hard to wake up. And I wouldn't, apparently. They tried all sorts of things, throwing water on me, shouting in my ear. They even brought on Ben's iPad or something like it, you see. They brought on the iPad and showed me pictures of my family. And I kind of, like that. So, see, white eyes like that, you see. And I wouldn't wake up. But in the end, and you can get a bit teary now if you like, they wheeled me out onto the 4th floor, a bit in front of the lifts. They took me out of the ward, because in those times, you see, we weren't allowed to have parties. Oh no, sorry, that's... No, we didn't need to go there, did we? We didn't, no, come on. No, we didn't need to do that. That was unnecessary and political, and we didn't need to do that. Anyway, so I hadn't seen my wife for 40... Well, I was asleep, so it was fair enough. But anyway, and they wheeled me out onto what's called the atrium. That's a posh way of saying a landing. Okay, just in case. It's sort of Boris way of saying landing. It was an atrium sine qua non. And so it was an atrium outside the lifts. So they wheeled me out, and my wife came to see me. I have no recollection of this whatsoever, okay? And so I was lying there asleep with sort of things coming into me and possibly out of me, but we don't want to talk about that, do we? And then she held my hand, apparently, and squeezed it, which was very nice of her, thank you. And then she lifted up one of those Ben instruments, what is an iPad 4, and played recordings of my children. Oh, I said it was going to get a bit teary. Okay, so they played, she played, and the nurses, I think, played recordings of my children going, some of them are teenagers. Hi, Dad. How are you? Mum says I've got to say hello. Yeah. Cheers. So, obviously, that's the sort of thing that's going to really, anyway. And apparently, Emma says, my wife said that when, I think it was particularly my 17-year-old, he was about 15 then, that when he said, hi, Dad, I went, which you could interpret in a variety of ways. I don't want to attach any kind of political significance to that either. But apparently I went like that. And then when they wheeled me back into the lift, I didn't say goodbye to Emma, but then I wasn't talking, so she didn't take it personally. And the interesting thing was that the consultant, a lovely bloke called Hugh, said that when I went back into the lift, I couldn't stop talking. Now that's a big surprise for you, isn't it? Michael Rosen couldn't stop talking. That can't be true. That couldn't be true. And I'm now going to leap right the way forward to January of this year when I went to a very special hospital, boys and girls, adults, very special hospital. It's called a brain hospital. And it was very exciting. I did lots of things. They gave me tests. They gave me lots of tests to find out whether I can think. And you know the first question they asked me? It was really exciting, this was. I sat there. The lady was German, actually, and she said, do you know the name of the Prime Minister? Yep, no, I can manage that one. And then she said, how old were you when you left school? Well, I'm one of those people who I went to school, and then I went to college, and then I thought, this is good, why don't I hang about and do some more? So I did something called an MA, and then a few years later I did a PhD. Basically, I've never left school. So when she said, how long have you been at school? I just went, how old were you when you left school? I couldn't really answer that one, so I think they were quite worried. But anyway, so then I had a thing where I went into a machine. They put you in a machine, like that. They said that was fun. It reminded me of the London Underground, like that. And then I went downstairs, special room. I had a big screen, and there was a big doctor there. Well, he's actually quite small, but a big doctor, you know what I mean. He was a small, big doctor. You know what I mean by that, do you? Anyway, and he said, oh, hello, Michael, hello. Would you like to look at your brain? And I thought, well, I've been trying to look at my brain for years. That's what poets do. We go. Do you do that, Ben?
All the time.
Yeah, exactly. Ben does it, you see, except his brain rhymes. Okay. So I looked at it, and he said, well, we can do it. And he switched it on, and there was my brain. And it looks like a cauliflower. I don't know whether your brain looks like a cauliflower, but mine does. So maybe I haven't got a brain in there. Maybe it is just a cauliflower. But anyway, it's better than an aubergine, I always think. But anyway, and he said, would you like to look at your brain? And I said, well, that's great, thank you. And then he stared at it very closely. And then he said, it looks like you've had, I'll explain this in a minute, boys and girls, altitude sickness. I said, really? That means you've been very, very high up. You've been like to the top of Everest. Well, I'll tell you now, I've never climbed Everest. That may surprise you. You looked at me and thought, that's a bloke who's climbed Everest. Yeah, I can tell you, I haven't climbed Everest, and I haven't jumped out of an aeroplane doing, what do they call that stuff? Free diving. What do they call it? Skydiving, that's right. I've heard about skiving, but that's a different thing. That's what I did. But anyway, never mind, I won't go there. Anyway, so yeah, and so I thought, well, altitude sickness? Because the highest I've been is when I came out of the lift, because it was on the 4th floor of the Whittington Hospital. Think carefully, boys and girls. The Whittington Hospital, Whittington, on a hill, at the bottom, by the hospital outside, you know what there is? A little statue. Meow. Are we getting anywhere? A little clue. Meow. Yeah, that's right. It's a cat. Yeah, that's right. And why is it called the Whittington Hospital and there's a cat? Because that's where Dick Whittington stood and he heard the bells of London going, turn again. No. I thought, no, we're on our own here? I don't know. We'll try again. Turn again, Whittington, Lord Mayor of London. Yes? Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Turn again, Whittington, Lord Mayor of London. We're not doing very well, are we? The sort of traditional folk song thing. What should we do? Barbara Allen, John Brown's Body, something. Anyway, turn again, Whittington. Anyway, and that's about the highest I've been. So anyway, that was a little treat. But in the end, they said that my brain was okay. And that test, where I couldn't really think about how old I was when I left school, apparently I got a little mark, and I said, oh, really? No, I'm not interested. Yes, tell me. Superior. 40 Days and 40 Nights came out superior. So there we are. That's okay. Now, I haven't told you that when I came 40 Days and 40 Nights, when you wake up, you're not very strong. You're a bit wobbly. Can you wobble? That's good wobbling on the front row. Sensational. You're not making any effort at all. That's good. That's better. Not at all. All the blokes don't do it at all. You see? The women and kids doing it. He's not. Go on, wobble. Have a little wobble. Good. Very good. The person next to you is doing excellent wobbling. That's it. Well, that's all I could do. You know, people would come by my bedside and they would say, okay, stand up. I was like the boy, the filleted boy. That's what I was, literally, I couldn't, because I couldn't do that. And the other thing, what you can hear, I'm talking to you, aren't I? Am I talking to you? That's good. Well, when I woke up, my voice was a little bit like that. It was a little bit weedy. And so I had to have something very special called voice therapy. Children, can you say that? Voice therapy. It's very good. A lovely lady called Fiona taught me how to blow bubbles. Can you do that? You have a straw, and you know, like when your mum says to you, don't make a noise in the bottle, they told me to do that. Okay, I had to go, I even had to sing. So the very thing that your mums and dads tell you not to do, I had to do. So I had a special bottle with a nice big plastic straw in it, and I'd go, and I thought that would be it. That would be it. But in fact, I moved on from there to something I want to teach you how to do. Can you do this? 1, 2, 3. Very good. I could hear there were no dads doing that at all. No, we don't do that. No, we don't do that. We're better than that. Yeah. Well, if you've been 40 days and 40, I'm sorry, am I repeating myself? Anyway, you have to do that. But more than that, you have to sing while you're doing it. And Fiona said to me, I had to do, well, she didn't demand I do that. I said, would it be okay to do? And the first song that came to my mind was Frère Jacques. I like French. In fact, when I'm really posh, I say Frère Jacques. So when I'm really being kind of sort of French, you know. But the other times I just go Frère Jacques. Bit like my son, really, isn't it? Yeah, Frère Jacques, Dad. Yeah. Anyway, so all right. So what we're going to do, and this is going to be quite a challenge, and I can see some people already being up, you know, getting ready for this, apart from the guys, that is. All right. We're going to do Frère Jacques by going together. Do you think you can do that? I tell you what, we'll sing Frère Jacques first as a warm-up. Okay, apart from you don't have to worry. Okay. So we'll do Frère Jacques as a warm-up, and then we're going to do it through this. And there is a very posh name for that. You may think it was just blowing raspberries. That's what you call it. And if you do, like that, which I've spent many hours doing that, especially to annoy my dad, okay? But there is a special word for it, okay? And I want to teach you this. It's semi-occluded voice production. Can we do that? 1, 2, 3. Semi-occluded voice production. In other words, blowing raspberries. Okay, so but first of all, we're going to sing Frère Jacques. Are we ready? Remember, it's Frère Jacques, dormez-vous, dormez-vous, sonnez les matines, ding, dang, dong, something like that, which means, as we know, Brother James, are you asleep? Ring the matin bells, which we always do every morning, don't you? You ring the matin bells? Yeah, that's it. Matin means morning. Okay, in Latin, a bit more Boris for you. Okay, Latin, and ding dang dong, which means ding dang dong. Good. Here we go. Frère Jacques, like that. Okay, that's the pitch. 1, 2, 3. Frère Jacques, dormez-vous, dormez-vous, sonnez les matines, ding, dang, dong, ding, dang, dong. Beautiful. That's really good. I was nowhere near as good as that for Fiona. She went, all right, yeah, okay. So now we're going to do it with the raspberry. Are we ready? We've got to do that semi-occluded voice production, okay? And you know what this is good for? You know why you had to do this? Cos, boys and girls, just put your hand here, just sort of round where your belly button is. Inside there, you've got like a sort of sheet that is called a diaphragm, that when you breathe in, it goes chum, and when you breathe out, it goes chum. But you can't tell it to do it. The only way you can tell it to do it, well, what Fiona said, I mean, I believe her, is in actual fact to blow raspberries. Like that, like the way you do it. Because mine wouldn't do that, you see, wouldn't go like that. So now, when we're going to do it, your diaphragm is going to go up and down. That sounds a bit, no, I won't go there. Okay, please, okay. Children, okay. So we're going to go like that, okay? 1, 2, 3. Hooray! And any time, and this is true now, any time any of you have got to give a speech, boys and girls, if you're in a play or you've got to do something, don't worry about people laughing at you. Just do that beforehand, and when you do it, your voice will be better. That's Fiona's magic. A big round of applause for Fiona, please. Fiona. And I don't usually plug my radio programs, but there is a word of mouth all about that, where I re-meet Fiona and blow bubbles and sing Frère Jacques doing it, so you can hear the whole thing on a radio program. But quite seriously, anytime you're a bit nervous, going on to it, I'm the best man, I don't really know what to say, all right, and what happens is your diaphragm freezes, and then you go quietly into the loo, all right, don't worry about anybody outside, and you go, seriously, and it will work. And the other thing, you see, while I was doing that, I still hadn't learned how to stand up. I'm still just it doesn't help you stand up. They took me to a special place, all right, a special place called a rehab. That doesn't sound right, does it? A rehab hospital, sort of Amy Winehouse, but yes, 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 instead of no, 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 yeah? So, yeah. So, yes, 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 I went to the rehab hospital, and there were 2 different people to teach me how to stand up, and one was very strict. And you know about strict, because we're going to hear about no breathing in a bit. Yeah, we are. We're going to do that. Hooray! Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, okay. It's a bit like no, but anyway. So very strict and very kind, okay? And the very strict man, he had been in the Greek army. And he stood next to my bed, and he said, sorry if there's Greek people here in my accent. It's really bad, it's taking him off. But anyway, this is the way it went. He said something like, today we're going to stand up. That sounds like German, but anyway, so he was a German Greek anyway. So anyway, and he said, 1, 2, 3, let's go. And I went, I couldn't do it. And then he go, 1, 2, 3, let's go. And then when I wouldn't, he went, poof, and then he went off. Presumably, in the Greek army, when you say 1, 2, 3, let's go, in Greek that would be, which I don't speak, they go stand up. But so he was a bit fed up with me, so he went off. And then a very nice Asian lady, very nice, Ashma came to my bed and said, I think it'd be a very good idea if you'd stand up. Do you see the difference? Do you see? Maybe, children, you can, we won't go there, but maybe you've got a teacher who's a bit strict, and another teacher who's like, well, it's a bit like that. Some people call it sort of soft cop, hard cop. Anyway, no, but anyway, so there. And so they taught me how to stand up and how to walk in 3 weeks. And in fact, I had a reason to do it, because my missus said I wasn't allowed to come back into the house either in a wheelchair or with a stick. And so I was quite worried. And she came to the gym to say, the gym? What? The gym? Yeah, to the gym to see if I could walk. And I could, well, nearly. Anyway, so that was all right. And then I got home, and that's why I'm here today. So I woke up, that's good, isn't it? And that was thanks to her and Dad. And so there we are, there's a little thing. All this happened 2 years ago, and so here we are today. So now I can see there's some young people here, so can you put your thumb in the air, okay, and your finger over there, all right? Adults, you don't have to do this, okay? And then find your other thumb. You'll find that on the end of your other arm. I think that's right. And then you can put that thumb on the end of your finger, that's good. and then you put your finger on the end of your thumb, and if any of you who follow football, you'll know there is a player that I'm hoping will not score tonight, who goes about and does that immediately after he scores. I think he's a wonderful footballer, but he just happens to play for the wrong team. But anyway, so he's a wonderful footballer. Anyway, so look, we've made a telly, okay? Can you do that? Yes, you've got a telly, okay? Do you want to put a good program on the telly? Put your ear on the telly. There you go. And that program's called What's This Here? As we'd say in London. You see, what's this here? Okay, there we go. And can you put your cheek on the telly? That's good. That program's called Don't Be Cheeky. And then can you put your nose on the telly? And that program's called? Yes, it could be. That's right. That was a dad there, dived in. Or no, yeah, that's right. Good, excellent. It could be called Don't Be Nosy, or that program that comes on at 10 o'clock after you're all in bed. It's called the 10 o'clock nose. Yeah? So now what we're going to do is see whether we can put all that together. Do you think you could do that? Here we go. Okay, so we get the telly, and we're going to do that, and that, and that, and that, and we're going to say the words at the same time. So it's quite hard. It is after you've been asleep for 40 days, I can tell you, mate. So here we go. Right, so we're going to take that, and we're going to go, what's this here? Don't be cheeky, don't be nosy, 10 o'clock nose. Okay, do you think we could do that? Okay, we've learnt it. Get your fingers ready. Okay, and here we go. 1, 2, 3. What's this here? Don't be cheeky, don't be nosy, 10 o'clock nose. Brilliant. Well done. Very good. Hooray. And as we're doing hands, okay, so we've got to imagine, and poems are sometimes about imagining things. Poems can be about seeing and hearing and smelling and tasting and touching, but also imagining and remembering. There we are. That just about covers everything, really, doesn't it? And so here's a hand, and it's a cold day. It's so cold that when you put your fingers on the window and go like that, your tongue goes numb, which means you can't feel it. So see if you can say this after me. I'll tell you what, I'll say it all through once and then we'll do it again. That'll be easier. This is the hand that touched the frost that froze my tongue, ow, and made it go numb. This is the hand that cracked the nut that went in my mouth and never came out. This is the hand that slid round the bath to find the soap that wouldn't float. You look for it here, it's not there, no. You look round the back and whoa. This is the hand on the hot water bottle. Meant to warm my bed, but got lost instead. So this is the hand that held the bottle, let go of the soap, that cracked the nut, that touched the frost. This is the hand that never got lost. This is the hand that never got lost. This is the hand that never got lost. So I tell you what, we'll do that again, and you can hear a lot of it rhymes, and I bet you can join in with it as we do it. All right, here we go. Yeah, you all right? You ready for this? There'll be mums and dads desperate to help you, particularly dads. So here we go. You remember it begins with, this is the hand. That's the bit that we hear quite often. That's called repetition. Here we go. So 1, 2, 3. This is the hand that touched the frost that froze my tongue, ow, and made it go numb. Good. This is the hand that cracked the nut that went in my mouth and never came out. See if you can find it. Oh. This is the hand that slid round the bath to find the soap that wouldn't float. Remember, we looked for it there. It wasn't there. No, then we just looked round the back and, woo! How'd they get there then? This is the hand on the hot water bottle. Meant to warm my bed, but hang on, we've got to look for it first. You find your hot water bottle quicker than me, I can tell you. But got lost instead. So this is the hand that held the bottle, let go of the soap, that cracked the nut, that touched the frost. This is the hand that... This is the hand that... Yeah, this is the hand that... So I lost the feeling in my tongue, I lost the nut, I lost the soap, I lost the hot water bottle, but I've still got my... Very good. Lovely. There we are. You clap yourself. You did that very well. Actually, that reminds me of something. I was out with some boys and girls. It's another Hans sort of poem, this one as well. Out with some boys and girls by the side of the River Thames in London. That's the great big river. You've got the Trent here. We've got the Thames, and there's a railway bridge goes over the Thames. And you'll know that if you're with a group of boys and girls under a railway bridge and a train goes over, there's a law, I think a rule of nature or something, I'm not quite sure, maybe it's written in the Bible, that what all children will do under the railway bridge, train goes over, ah! I don't know why, but it happens. It's not the train's going to fall off or anything, but it's just, ah! Like that. And that's what these boys and girls did. I thought, oh yeah, that's page 33 in the What Children Do book. Yeah, very good. And inside me, I've got 2 teachers in my head. They didn't come up on the scan, on the brain scan. One of them's my mum and one of them's my dad. They were both teachers. Just think about that for a moment. Both of your parents are teachers. Can you imagine what that was like? You know, when I used to come home from school, and if they were there, right, let's say I was going late or whatever, and they'd say, what did you do in school today? They really meant it. Because some parents, you know, they say, what did you do in school today? And when you start saying, they go, all right, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Not my mum and dad. They'd say, what did you do in school today? And I'd go, you know, stuff. And they go, well, what stuff? I go, I don't know, it's history stuff, I think. History? That's really interesting. And I go, well, I don't know. So what history were you doing? And by then I was at big school, and I'd say, I don't know, I think it's something called the Chartists. The Chartists? What have you got to do with the Chartists? I don't know. I think it's a thing I got to write. Why Chartism failed, I think. Failed? Chartism didn't fail. My dad went to the shelves. He took down a book that said, What to Tell Michael If He Says Chartism Failed. Special books, but just for me. And he'd go, have a look. Mick, that's what he used to call me. Mick, I think you need to look at this. I think you need to look at this. And read the first 400 pages. You don't have to read the last 400. It's okay, unless you're really interested. Chum, chum, chum. And that's what it was like. Yeah? And my mum, meanwhile, she loved this thing called poetry. Oh. You know, you'd be sitting about and, you know, and I'd be a bit sexist about this, you know, she'd made some tea or something like that. She'd put it down and then she'd go, tread softly, because you tread on my dreams. Anyway, if we just move it, and you go, what? What did you say, Mum? Oh, it's just nothing, it's all right. Just a poem by W.B. Yeats. Who? W.B. Yeats, and then suddenly you remembered. W.B. Yeats, was he the person on the radio that when Mum and Dad said we had to listen to the radio? Do you know the radio? Have you ever seen those? Didn't used to be called a radio. It used to be called a wireless. Yeah. And Mum and Dad would look in this special magazine and go, oh, there's a good program coming on the radio, on the wireless. It's called Poets Reading Their Own Poems. You'll like this, boys. And me and my brother would go like, oh. And then we'd all have to go off to the living room, which my dad always called the front room. Anyway, was it at the front? I suppose it was. Anyway, we'd all have to go off, and then my dad would switch on the radio, and then you'd hear this very posh voice. And now, we have a very rare recording of the poet W.B. Yeats, William Butler Yeats, reading his poem, Lake Harlevin is Free. Before we play you this recording, we would point out the rather poor quality, as it was recorded on wax cylinders, and we'd draw your attention to the rather extraordinary incantatory style of delivery of the poet W.B. Yeats, William Butler Yeats, now reading his poem, Lake Harlevin is Free. And then, so I'm about your age, okay, 7, 8, 9, 10, something like that, and I'm going, what is this? Why, can we get out? I want to go and play football with my mate Haribo, you know. He was called Brian Harrison, but I called him Haribo. But it was before the sweets were invented. I don't know. I invented Haribo anyway. So it was hearing this, and then suddenly you'd hear this sound. And that was the old recording machines that they had in the olden days. And a faraway voice went, I will arise now and go to Innisfree. And my dad's going. And Mum's looking all kind of in a trance like this. 9 belows will I have there. Can you do the sound of the recording, boys and girls? Can you do this? And I'll do WBH, you do that. 9 bean rows will I have there, that hum in the be loud glade. And me and my brother were sitting there going, oh. But what do you do with a thing like that, boys and girls? What do you do? My brother, older than me, 4 years older than me, was then, still is, and he'd start getting it up as an act. We'd do it in the bedroom. You ready? Okay? So I tell you what, this side do the, this side you go, I will arise now. That's all you have to do. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. I will arise now. Oh, great. So we'd do that in the bedroom. Yeah? And then when do you do that? When do you do that show? When do you do that show? No, it was obvious. Breakfast. Because my dad, he couldn't stand any noise at breakfast. In fact, my dad had a thing that he'd say if you made a noise. It was like this. You just go like this. The noise. Can you do that? 1, 2, 3. The noise. Exactly. My brother would learn that he knew that one as well. We'd sit in the bedroom or something going, way, in the middle of it all, my brother would go, the noise. So my dad comes down to breakfast, and my dad coming down, this is way back, boys and girls, in the Stone Age. I'll come back to that. And do you know, does your mum or dad, have they got a dressing gown? Americans call it a robe. My dad was American, but he didn't have a robe. He had his old army greatcoat lining. Yeah? It's what it was just like a blanket with holes in and no buttons. Must have been great for my mum. Anyway, and he would come down, and he didn't wear slippers because he thought slippers were old-fashioned. He just wore his shoes. And no socks either. And so he comes down, and he plonks himself down. I don't know whether your mums and dads do this, boys and girls. He plonks himself down, and then in the olden days, we had things called newspapers. And he would go like this, shoom. He'd disappear. 1 minute you had a dad, and the next thing all you had was a newspaper. You go, didn't we used to have a dad? Where's he? No, he came down one day and turned into a newspaper. Like that. And do you know, he could magically find the coffee cup behind the newspaper without taking the newspaper down. Like this, he'd like that, and a hand would come out. Like that. Like that. And we would watch the hand. Like this. And you know what my brother goes and does? In the middle of all this, remember, he can't stand any noise. He can't stand any noise at all. My brother goes... So he gets me to do it. Are you ready? This side, you've rehearsed. So you're me, you're my brother. Here we go. So my brother goes, and my brother goes, exactly. The newspaper comes down, and my dad says, what does he say? The noise. But not before my brother on the other side of the table goes, the noise. And my dad is stuck mid-hand, like this going, So there we are. That's what it was like. I was out with some boys and girls by the side of the railway train, went over. And I said to them, come over here. You can see and hear the train, but do you know, if you put your hands on the wall here that holds up the bridge, you can feel the train. So we all did that. We all went over and we felt the train. I said, you could feel the rhythm of the train. Like that. And as I did that, I thought of something that Benjamin Zephaniah said to me. He's a poet, wonderful poet. And he said, I once asked him, because I had to ask him on radio, I said, Benjamin, producer told me in my ear, said, ask him where he writes his poems. I said, Benjamin, where do you write your poems? He said, how do you mean write? I said, where do you write them? He said, I don't write them. I make them up in my head when I go jogging. And that way, I know the poem when I've made it up. And then when I perform it, people can sort of say it straight back to me. It's kind of magic. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do the Benjamin Zephaniah challenge. Okay? I'm going to do the poem I made up about putting your hand on the bridge in my head, just as Benjamin told me to. I'm going to perform it, and then you are all going to say it back. Are you ready? Okay, so the poem I made up went, hands on the bridge, feel the rhythm of the train. Hands on the window. Hang on. Oh, no. I'm going to get to the end of it, and then you're going to do it. Okay, all right, I'll repeat that bit so it's easy to remember. Here we go. Hands on the bridge, feel the rhythm of the train. Hands on the window, feel the rhythm of the rain. Hands on your throat, feel the rhythm of your talk. Hands on your leg, feel the rhythm of your walk. Hands in the sea, feel the rhythm of the tide. Hands on your heart, feel the rhythm inside. Hands on the rhythm, feel the rhythm of the rhyme. Hands on your life, feel the rhythm of time. What? Hands on your life, feel the rhythm of time. One more time. Hands on your life, feel the rhythm of time. So Benjamin Zephaniah challenge. I just stand here and you... Okay, I will help you. Here we go. A musician told me once it has 4 beats, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of 3. But anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hands on the bridge, feel the rhythm of the train. Window. Hands on the window, feel the rhythm of the rain. Throat. Hands on the throat, feel the rhythm of the talk. Leg. Hands on your leg, feel the rhythm of your walk. Sea. Hands on the sea, feel the rhythm of the tide. Heart. Rhythm. Hands on the rhythm, feel the rhythm of the rhyme. Feel the rhythm of time. Hands on your life, feel the rhythm of time. Again. Hands on your life, feel the rhythm of time. Big round of applause for Benjamin Zephaniah. Hooray! Now, I've told you some things about when I was a boy, about my mum and my dad, and I haven't explained that, or I just mentioned that it was during the Stone Age. So I was born in the Stone Age. Some of you will know, thanks to a very good man, a very kind, very good man called Mr. Gove. Please, come on, let's keep it simple. Okay, so this kind man, he said that all the boys and girls, all of you at school, you've got to learn about how things come before other things. And then other things happen afterwards. And that it all starts in the Stone Age. That's when it all begins. And so what you're going to have is a special chart on the wall, every classroom. And when you're in year 3, and you must do it in year 3, you can't do it in year 2, 4, 5, 6, any of that. You must do it in year 3. In year 3, you learn there's the Stone Age, there's a line, because that's the end of the Stone Age, always like line. And then there's a new age comes in, that's the... Tomato age, is it? Rabbit age? I was never very good at it. What is it, sorry? Bronze comes next. Lovely, very good. Bronze age, then the potato age, line, and then the plastic age. Something like that. And it's all there on the wall, and you do that. Well, that one at the beginning, and I know I've been into schools, and it says Stone Age, and there's a stone. Just so you know it's the Stone Age. When it says the Tudors, there's always a picture of a great big ginger-haired bloke with a big beard who used, for some reason or other, chopped his... no, anyway, we won't go there. What was his name? Henry the Fourth, Fifth? Eighth, thank you. Lovely, very good. Yeah. Why, was it? Did he have 8 wives? 6 wives. Good Lord. I didn't know that. So did they have wives in the stone? I don't know. They had stones. Anyway, so look. Stone Age, stone, and that's what it was like. Seriously, that's what it was like. All we had was stones and rocks and pebbles. We had some grit, gravel. There were cliffs, I remember. And that's the way it was. At home, we didn't have a chair or a table. We just sat on a rock, you see, like this. And no table, anything, just another big rock there. Mum! It's really uncomfortable. Oh, my bum really hurts. And she'd say, shush, Michael. It's not the chair age yet. How did she know? And then, all you had was rocks and stuff to eat. So it was all broken up and stuff like, oh, that really hurts. Mum, I think I cut myself. And she'd say, shush, eat your gravel. You go to school, it was just the same. You sat on a rock, you had a big rock. And Miss used to say, take out your rock. So you took out a great big rock, and then she'd say, write on your rock. She was very nice, actually. I remember her. She was very nice. She'd say, write on your rock. You've got a pebble, Michael. You can do that. See, so I go, I couldn't speak because it was the Stone Age, but like that. You go home, you go to bed. Another rock. Just like, Mum, it all hurts all down my side. Shush, Michael, it's not the bed age yet. And then, boys and girls, the Stone Age came to an end. Yeah, I lived at that moment. And you know how we knew? Because a big line came down. You see? We were walking about, and then, can you do that? Can you do that noise? I like teaching noises like that. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Exactly. That's right. And I was with Haribo, right? And I said, Haribo, look. I said, what's that? And he said, Mick, that's what he used to call me, that's the end of the Stone Age. I said, what do we do now? He said, we walk through the line. You know, it's a London way of speaking. Walk through the line. So I said, okay. And we walked through, and on the other side of it, there were some shoes and socks. Because up until then, we'd only been walking around in big sort of stone clogs. Like that. It's quite hard walking about. So I thought, is this the shoes and socks age, Haribo? He said, yep. So you may not have that on your chart, but it says Stone Age, shoes and socks age, like that. And then everything changed. Everything changed. It was amazing. I went home, and you had a chair and tables and things. And at school, we had a new teacher. I don't know what they did. I think they wheeled that teacher out. And I don't know. It was very sad, but I think she went off in a bin or something. I don't know. It's very sad. Maybe she's what they call a supply teacher. They live in a cupboard, the supply teacher, because they're supplies, you see. They're stacked up in a cupboard. Don't mind me, I'm just a supply teacher. Anyway, and so, I sometimes stagger about a bit because of, anyway, I won't go there. But anyway, so, this new teacher they wheeled in, she was so strict. No, I mean really strict. I mean, maybe you've seen people who are strict, but she was stricter than anything you've ever. She was so strict, you weren't allowed to breathe in her lessons. Now, this is absolutely true. Some of the things I've told you up until now, not true. But this is absolutely true. She would stand out the front and say, no breathing. And you had to get, from the time you first came into school till morning play, without breathing. So she'd say, no breathing. You had one more last breath, no breathing. And the weak ones just used to keel over. You'd hear them going down at the back of the class. Kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. And there was always a whiny, whingy kid going, meh, could I go and do some breathing? And she'd say, no, you've got all playtime to do it in. And the kid would go, go on, miss, and go. No. Do you know, at the beginning of the week, there were 48 children in my class. At the end of the week, there was only 5 of us left. At the end of the day, you'd be stepping over kids just to get, oh no! There's Melanie. That's a shame. She's really nice. I used to like Melanie. That's a shame. There's Dave, yeah. Hard luck, Dave. Always knew you were a bit weak, Dave. That wasn't very nice of me. People say to me, Michael, this story you're just telling, you just made it all up, can't be true, because if it was true, you wouldn't be here now to tell the tale. And I go, yes, but you've forgotten this is the end of the Stone Age. They've taken out the rocks and they've given us what are called desks with lids. And some of us figured out you could snatch a quick breath underneath the desk lid and Miss wouldn't know anything at all about it. Once more, from the beginning, we know how it goes. What does Miss say? She says, 1, 2, 3. No breathing. Here goes with the breath. The weak ones with me. Kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. The whiny kid. Me, gotta go and do some breathing. No, you've got all playtime to do it in. Extra whingy bit. Oh, go on, mate. Go. No. Us lot with our desk lids. You ready? Hold that breath. Make sure nobody's looking. No, that's a noise there. You're not allowed to make any noise. Boom. No! Don't slam your desk lid down. If you slammed your desk lid down, they went out. School prison. There was a school prison underneath the school hall where they used to string us up from the wall bars. Miss, been up here for 3 weeks. And there's rats. And they're nibbling my toenails, miss. So I figured it out. If I wanted to survive, that means live forever. If I wanted to survive, then I had to let that desk lid down very, very quietly, very, very softly. Once more from the beginning, we know how it goes. Miss says, no breath. The big breath, here we go. Hold it. I was pretty good at it, actually. The weak ones, kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. The whiny kid, Miss, could I go and do some breathing? No. You've got all playtime to do it in. Extra whingy bit. Oh, go on, go. No. The other lot with their desk lids. Remember? Hold the breath. Make sure nobody's looking. Boom. Out. School prison. Wall bars. Miss, I've been up here for 3 weeks. And there's... And they're nibbling my... Me. Thumbs round the edge of the desk lid. Hold that breath. Make sure nobody's looking. And then ease it down really quietly, really slowly, really slowly. Yes. And that is survival. Or that was the way to survive. And that's why I'm here today. Thank you. Now then. I'll have to keep an eye on the time. So I thought maybe people sometimes like to ask me questions. So it's lovely. I come places, people like to ask me questions. I was in a school, I remember, just before I got ill actually, I was in a school and I said, are there any questions? And there was a boy on the front row. There was a boy on the front row, and the moment I said, are there any questions, his hand went up like this. He went, huh? Like he had been cooking the question. All the time while I was talking, he was, I've got a really good question for Michael Rosen. Okay, I've got a question. So his hand went up like that. And I can remember when I was at school, if somebody put their hand up like that and went, like that, it was usually to ask to go to the toilet. Because I know you may not believe this, boys and girls, but you weren't allowed to just wander off to the toilet like you can. You know, hey, I don't go to the toilet now, like that. Not in my day, you couldn't do that. You had to ask in front of everybody. Okay, it was not very nice at all. So you put your hand out and you go, please, miss, can I go to the toilet? And of course, other people go, like that. They'd love it. It's particularly a bit old ones, and they'd go, number ones or number twos. And it was really embarrassing, you know what I mean? So this boy went, like that, and I thought he was asking to go to the toilet, because I'm still in the Stone Age, you see. My mind is there. So I said, do you want to go to the toilet? He says, no, I've got a question for you, Michael Rosen. Children always call me Michael Rosen. Do you know, one of my own children once called, seriously. One of my own kids once said, can you do a Michael Rosen poem? I said, do you mean Dad? He went, no, Michael Rosen poem. Anyway, So he said, yeah, Michael Rosen, I got a question. I said, yeah, what's your question? He said, do you know my dad's name? And I said, no. And he said, it's Patrick. That's the end of that story. There isn't a... So that was a good question, I thought. And there was another question I got. I do a little poem. It goes like this. Down behind the dustbin, I met a dog called Jim. He didn't know me, and I didn't know him. Yeah, that's good, thank you. Because I sometimes get lost with that. I sometimes go, down behind the dustbin, I met a dog called Jim. He didn't know me, and I didn't know Dave. And that's not right. Anyway, so I did the poem. Down behind the dustbin, I met a dog called Jim. He didn't know me, I didn't know him. And this boy shouted out, well, how do you know his name was Jim then? And I said, no, I can't. Sorry, I don't know. I can't think. So I haven't been able to answer that question. In fact, I'm still trying to think of an answer. Sometimes boys and girls help me, and they go, his name was on the collar, which is very helpful of them, I think, because I didn't think of that when I wrote the poem. Down behind the dustbin, I met a dog called Jim. He didn't know me, I didn't know him. I knew his name was Jim because his name was on the collar. That's a good last line, actually. Yeah. Ben can borrow that. Yeah, okay. Ben's there all the time, by the way. If you just in case you think I'm pretending it, Ben, just poke your head round the door. See, look, hey, he's still there. It's very good. He's thinking up another rhyme to go with posture, because that was a very good rhyme. That one. What rhymed with posture? Loster. Oh, that was so good. Very good. Yeah. Good. Excellent. Right. So I've given you 2 examples of questions, but if you've got a question, maybe if we could have house lights up and I can see if there's anybody here. So it'd be nice if there are some people here. Oh, there are. Oh, my goodness me. Look at you. You're all smiling and all in rows, all looking the same way. That's lovely. Do you know how old that joke is? It comes from the 1880s. Dan Leno. Yeah, that's right. I've forgotten who told me. Oh, I know. Roy Hudd. He told me that. Yeah, that's right. It was one of his old jokes. Hello, you're all in like rows, looking the same way. Anyway, that's right. I don't do it as well as Roy Hudd. Okay, let's see now whether anyone's got a question. Okay. I can see there's somebody there. You've got sort of stripes. You're like sort of Bridget Riley, but yeah.
Do you have any pets?
Yes. Yes, I resisted. I said no pet, no pets, because we'd have cats. And cats, we had, my wife had 2 cats, and they were called Benny and Tony. And they were ginger brothers. One was named after Benny Blanco from the Bronx, and one was named after Tony Soprano. So they were gangsters. Quite scary, right? And they were brothers, and they were very, very fond of each other. They loved each other very much. And they used to spend a lot of time licking each other. And I said, Emma, why are they licking each other? She said, well, because they're brothers. And I said, well, I don't lick my brother. Hi, Brian. Hi there. The noise. Yeah. So anyway, very sad. Emma remembers better than me. One of them died. I forget which one died first because I got muddled them anyway. So anyway, one of them died, and it was very, very sad because the meow of the one who was living changed. He went on going meow, meow, and then suddenly he'd remember, haven't I got a brother? And instead of going meow, meow, he'd go... It was terrible. He'd go and stand at the door and go... He'd go upstairs and stand on the landing. Anyway, then he died, and Emma couldn't bear to be without lovely Tony and Benny. So she went out, explain this, boys and girls, she went out and bought, well, they're kind of plastic cats. And they're sort of curled up, and they're ginger. And I don't know how I can put this, but anyway, what's left of the cats is inside the ginger plastic cats. And they sit in the hearth, just where they used to sit. And Emma says one of them's Tony. I I can't tell you. Anyway, so they're there, and I thought, well, they were lovely cats. As it happens, we haven't got a cat flap. I would always get up in the morning. I had to do, boys and girls, if you don't know, this is a thing called a litter tray. Cats do wheeze and poos, just like we do. But we do them in the toilet. They do them in the litter tray, and somebody has to clean them up. And if you haven't got a special cat litter tray cleaner-upper, Dad does it. So that would be my job for years and years and years. So very sad as it was that Tony and Benny went, I said, bye-bye, Tony, bye-bye, Benny. There they are, yeah, in the heart, lovely, lovely, the rest of it. And my daughter in particular, but also Emma said, can we get another cat? Can we get another cat? Can we get another cat? We want a cat. And I said, only if you get up in the morning and do the litter tray. Only if you... And they didn't want to, you see. It's my job. Michael's very good with wheeze and poos and litter trays. That's his job. Big job. Nope, we're not. Nope, no pets, no pets. Not having it. Nope, we can have a plant. See what a horrible dictator man I am. We'll have a plant. So Emma got plant, very big plant. It keeps falling over, it's so big. Hey, I'm a big plant. I can't stand up all on my own. Whee, boom. Emma stands up. And then I got ill. And do you know what these two wheedly people did? No, not when I was asleep. More wheedly than that. I came home and I was a little bit weedy. I was sitting in the chair like this, a little bit weedy, couldn't get up very easily. And they said, you know what you would like, Michael? I said, I'd love a drink, actually. I can just read. Oh, lovely, I'll have a drink. Lovely, yeah. And could you bring me a lollipop? I'd love a... See, yeah, anyway. You'd like a cat. And I said, nope, because I won't be able to get up. And you'd love a cat, Michael. You could sit there going, and I said, nope. And he said, help you recover. That means get better, boys and girls. And I said, nope. And do you know what they did? They said, we're just going to see a friend. They've got some kittens. And maybe we'll come back with a cat. And I went, okay, kittens, they're very small. They don't grow. They're just like that. And so, do you know what happened? They came back with two. They came back with two kittens. And they're mad. They're just crazy. They climb up the curtains. Do you know there's blinds? You know you've got blinds in the house, you've got a thing like that. They pull the blinds. They jump up and go, whee, like that. Anyway, we didn't know what to call them because Emma was so attached to Tony and Benny. She wanted to maybe call them Tony and Benny as well, but they couldn't because these were black and white cats. They were the ginger cat. You could see them. Oh, they're still in the hearth. They're lovely. In fact, these two would go and smell them. Oh, right. No. You've already got some cat. Anyway, they're black and white cats. And then Elsie, my daughter, she noticed that one of them's got a stripe on his paw like that, you see. And we didn't start off with, you don't know which one's a boy or a girl, and so you have to take him to the vet. The vet has a little look, says, yeah, that's right, that one's a boy, that one's a girl. So yeah, that's right, there weren't two boys, there weren't two girls, there was a boy and a girl, and they were black and white, and they had stripes. And I suddenly said, the White Stripes. They're a band, boys and girls, they're a band. And one of them's called, boy, Jack, and the other's called Meg. And so they're Jack and Meg from the White Stripes. I haven't told them the Jack and Meg split. They're not, the White Stripes doesn't exist anymore, so I haven't shared that with them. But yes, so now we have two cats. So that's in answer to your question, two cats. And one of them, Meg, is she's a bully. She bullies me. She thinks that I'm not allowed to have my hand anywhere like there. Because she goes, oh, and runs at it and butts it, like that, with her head, like that, boom, saying at the time, stroke me! And so Meg is very, very much a sort of Meg the bully. Jack, on the other hand, is a scaredy cat, And my mum and dad used to speak a language called Yiddish, and not a lot, but quite a bit. And the word for when you get the nerves before you go, before you have it in a concert or something like that, it's called, you have spilkes. It means little needles in your stomach. And so I wanted to call that one spilkes. I still do secretly. Okay, when Emma's out the room, I say, spilkes, I know you're spilkes. Anyway, because he goes, ah, here comes Michael. He's going to stroke me. Ah! And he runs. But Meg, meanwhile, is going, stroke me! Stroke me! Very different characters, very different. Ah! He's going to feed me now. Ah! Spilkes. So there we are. Yes, we do have pets. Okay, lights up again. Have we go? Oh, thank you. Well, sorry. It's all a true story. I've, in fact, just written a story called The Great Poppadom Mystery, because I left a poppadom on the top in the bag that the Indian takeaway gave us, and it was gone in the morning. And I thought all sorts of possibilities, but of course, I figured it out anyway, but it took me quite a long time to figure out. So anyway, there may be a book will come out, maybe at any rate, called The Great Poppadom Mystery, about how I deduced that it was either, well, I think it was spilkes, but anyway, it could have, yeah. Right, okay, lights up, let's see whether we've got another question. Somebody up there, yes, there's a boy there with a whitish top, yes? What's my favourite poem? Favourite poem? Well, in some ways it was the Down Behind the Dustbin one, because it does go on. There are some other people I find behind the dustbin. There's Down Behind the Dustbin, I met a dog called Sid. He could smell a bone inside, but he couldn't lift the... Yeah, well, he's a dog, wasn't he? Of course he couldn't lift the lid. Why are you telling me this? Down Behind the Dustbin, I met that dog called Sid. He said he didn't know me, but I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah, that's what's called a lying dog. Down Behind the Dustbin, I met a dog called Barry. He tried to lift the bin, but it was too heavy to lift up, that's right. Down Behind the Dustbin, I met a dog called Mary. I wish I wasn't a dog, she said. I wish I was or a canary. We used to have canaries when I was, or a budgie. No, that wouldn't rhyme, would it? Down Behind the Dustbin, I met a dog called Jack. Where are you going, I said. Nowhere, I'm just coming. You'd still be going somewhere, even if you were coming back. Anyway, Down Behind the Dustbin, I met a dog called Louisa. This is a London one, this one. There was another dog there, and she was trying to squeeze her. That's right, that's how we say it in London. Down Behind the Dustbin, I met a dog called Nicola. She looked a bit like an onion. So I thought that I would... Very good, yes. I've discovered in schools, if I do that one, Down Behind the Dustbin, I met a dog called Nicola. She looked a bit like an onion. I thought that I would, quite often the children first say eat her, which is good. And then I say, well, it's sort of got a rhyme with Nicola, and they come up with tickler. Which I kind of think, so you could go to Sainsbury's and you've got these jars of onions all along. And some of them are pickled onions, but there's one on the end, they're going, ah, stop it, stop it! Whole jar, tickled onions. It could be a jugged hare, tickled, anyway. Down Behind the Dustbin, I met a dog called Felicity. It's a bit dark down here because they cut off my tail. That's right, yeah. So anyway, there we are. I quite like those. I made those up a long time ago when I used to work for a BBC television programme that's not on television anymore. It was called Play School. Yeah, some of you remember that. There was a little bit of music, and then it would go, come through, and there'd be two presenters, and they'd go, hello. Hello again. Look what we've got. It's an egg box. What should we do with the egg box? Oh no, it's only one side. Let's turn it over. Now it's upside down. Shall we sing the upside down song? Yes, let's. I'm upside down. Anyway, I used to write Play School. Anyway, the reason why I knew that was one of my scripts. Anyway, yeah. I worked, and I remember writing that first. They said we need poems for play school, so I went away. I was only about 24, 25, and I went away and I wrote down behind the dustbin. I met a dog called Jim. He didn't mind it, and I handed it over. And I remember the producer going, "Yes, it's very good, but it's a bit rich." It's a word they used there. If there was something they didn't like, they would go, "It's a bit rich." So anyway, every time I say that poem, I always think it's really rich. Anyway, they never used it. So I put it in a book, and I don't know, people say it now. So anyway, it's a strange relationship I have with the BBC. But anyway, I won't go there. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. Yeah, and I can see some boys and girls right up the back. How about the boy with the check shirt, green and black? Yeah, that's you, Mum says. Yeah, it's you, It's you, David, it's you. Can I do what, sorry? Do another poem. Oh, right, yeah, of course. That sounded very plaintive, didn't it? Yes, another poem. Well, yes, so when I was a boy...
Oh, hello.
Have I got to stop now?
Well, I just thought if anyone wanted their book signing and you wanted to get home tonight...
Yeah, I've got to get home. Okay, so I'll just tell you this, that when I was a boy... I thought my dad knew everything. If a bus came past, I'd say, "Dad, what's that?" And my dad would say, "Son, that's a bus." And I thought, wow, my dad knows everything. And I say, "Hang on a minute, Dad. There's some things on the bottom and they're going round as the bus is going along. What are they called?" Good, you knew, I didn't. I was 8, why would I know? 3, 4. And my dad would say, "Son, those are wheels." And I thought, what did I think? Wow, my dad knows everything. Hang on a minute, Dad, you said those things are wheels and they're going round, but how many are there? It's quite a small bus. How many are there? And my dad said, "Son, there are..." And I thought, my dad knows everything. But then came a terrible day when I found out that my dad does not know everything. And it went like this. Some of you will know. We sit down to eat, and the potato's a bit hot. So I only put a little bit on my fork, and I blow till it's cool, just cool, into the mouth. Nice. And there's my brother, he's doing the same. And you can join in. Till it's cool, just cool, into the mouth. Nice. And there's my mum, she's doing the same. Yes, I did come from that sort of a home. Here we go. Till it's cool, just cool, into the mouth. Nice. But my dad, what does he do? He stuffs a great big chunk of potato into his mouth, and that really does it. His eyes pop out. He blows, he puffs, he bobs his head up and down, he yells. He even spits bits of potato onto the plate. Sorry about this. And then he turns to us and he says, "Watch out, everybody, the potato's really hot." And that was the day that I found out that my dad does not know everything. So the lady there said that I've got to stop, all right? So I'm very sorry. So I've got to sign some books. You know, it's what we have to do. It's all part of the job. Some of you may want to sign books, so I think I've got to stop there now. So I'm terribly sorry. And I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah. There we go. Oh, I'm back. Hello. Keep that applause going for Michael Rosen. Now, everything that has happened tonight has been part of Nottingham Poetry. Poetry Festival, which is still going on all weekend. Wow! And there's so many fantastic events to check out. You've got programs on your seats of all the awesome things going on. You should go to those events. They are great. Just a few thank yous. Thank you very much to Arts Council England for funding the festival. Thank you also so much to Confetti Constellations and Metronome for supporting us since it began back in 2015. 7 years this year. That's really impressive. And finally, thank you so much to Tom on tech, who has been absolutely wonderful making us heard. Have a lovely evening and good night!
I'll be out there. Is it that way? Very good. No, that's all right. I better get and sign books, yeah. No, it's fine. That's all right. I was sipping water. Okay, no worries. Yeah, we'll do. Oh, that's how. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Oh, lovely. Thank you.